you'll just build upon it from there. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just project something. Now we will just do a quick check for us to see whether we understand it. And some few questions, then you'll be able to post your answer for us to see. So I'm going to present and share my screen, and then we'll pick it from there. But before we do that, is there any question as at this moment? Any question? It looks like there's no question. So I'm going to present my my screen right now. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, right. So so today we will do some quick checks. Then we will proceed from there. The first thing we'll look at some few exercise. When you see the question, just put your answer in the test for us to see whether we understand what Jed has taught. Okay, so we in the first one, we want to know whether if you say write a Python code, which will print hello world, can you just write a small thing and just put it in the console for us to see? So Michael, are you putting it in the Q&A or chat?
You can put it in the chat.
Okay, right. I think I've got two people. We see Efia Poku has done that. Okay, so we have who else again? Neil, Dakwa, Albert. Okay, it looks like everybody getting this one. Okay, right. Any more? I think we have one. Is it Neil? Sorry if I get your name wrong. And then you have Dankwa Albert. We have Benjamin who has also done something. Okay, right. Okay. I think that's fine. It means that you have all got how to print information to the console. So we move to the answer part of it. So this is the answer you're supposed to write. If you wrote anything else, then you are over the bar. Right. So the next thing, let's look at the next question. Thank you all for who has responded. It looks like we are making a lot of progress. I've seen somebody writing the answer with big P. Did you try running this code to see whether it will work? So try and run it and see whether it works before you put it. I think this one may not run. All right, so the next one, let's look at the next one. Okay. So let's say if you say you should comment on, let's say, a code. I think Jed explained to us how we comment. Sometimes you want to be able to explain if you've written a function, you want to be able to know, or if somebody else come tomorrow to see your code, will they be able to understand? Or you yourself, you leave the code for about a year or two, when you come back to the code, will you be able to understand? So what you do is that we want to be able to comment it at various points, be able to understand it. So let's say, can you write a single statement which shows how to comment in Python? Okay, great. We have who's first? Okay. Neil or O'Neill is the first person to come again. Okay, we have Ken, we have Benjamin, we have okay, using the hashtag. Okay, but I wanted you to write example. If you I wanted to write an example of it. Okay, Abetu has come in. You have Baba. Yeah, two is coming. Okay, right. I think we also got a concept. So means that we've got a concept of being able to comment code here. So the next thing is okay. So I think I've got some of you. How many participants are in there? And we get 26. You're only getting response from almost like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 20. Please, the 20 people. Let's see you come up, and then let's see. Right. I've seen. Okay, that's great. So next one, so this is it. So let's say if you've written this comment, you want to comment it, use a hashtag in front of it. So all these two beneath and down, I think up and down are all comments to be able to. So whenever you run the code, those comments will not run. So, okay, so now let's go to the next question and see. So how will you define a function in Python? If you say write a small function that defines how to define a Python, define functions in Python. So just write a single function in Python, and then let's see whether we ask to write a function, you'll be able to pull it up. Okay, but Bright, it looks like Bright Mensa. It looks like that you define a function, I think it has to come with a full definition. It looks like this is not complete. Okay, but please try and run it and see whether the function is defined properly. Please, I think, okay, still waiting for some answers before we proceed. We just want to demonstrate our understanding of how far we've come. Any other? Okay. Somebody else has come with something. Yeah. This better than previous. Good. Yeah. Okay. Wright has beef up what he wrote earlier, but his statement is currently not returning anything at the moment. Okay. Okay. I'm sure some of the functions may not run in an environment that when you put it in the editor. Okay, right. So let's see so that we don't waste much time. I've seen that. I think the basic concept is that you understand it. That's fine. Okay, so this is your answer. This is a sample of how you're going to write a Python. You define a Python function and then print something. So if you do this, it'll be able to print out something for you and return the information back. So this is a sample of how you write a function in Python. Okay. So next question. So what is a list in Python and how do you create one? So can you create just a sample of what a list is in Python? Okay, so last a minute, then we move on from here. Unless you spend much time over here. Okay, so 7:32, 7:33, we'll just move on from here. So just how to create a list. Great. Right, check the list well and see. It looks like there's something missing there. Great, that's it. Okay, so the others, I think, okay, right. So somebody has given us a numeric list. Others has also given us a numeric list, and then the other one is a string. Okay, right. That's good. I think you've demonstrated understanding on it. So let's see. Okay, more. Great. So that's it. So this is sample of how the list look like. So the next question. So let's say you want to extract an input or get the age of something from a user or get the name of the user. So let's say you are asked to write a function or you are right to write an input to extract an information from a user in Python. How will you write it? Just one of them. So you just write something to accept or extract the name of a person from the user. Okay, great. Somebody has given us already. William, I think he has given us something. Yeah, and I think this should be fine. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so I think we need to move on from here. Next, this is a sample of how you input a person's name, you extract it. Okay, right. I think we got something from there. Great. Okay, right. I think that's good. That's good effort from each and every one of you that is putting in your estimate from there. So when we say, what is the purpose of if statement in Python? What's the purpose of if statement in Python? Or if you can also write an if statement. Okay, let's make it simple, right? Just write an if statement, a single if statement for us. Good. For iteration, yes, okay. Is it for iteration or no? No. If statement, is it for iteration? No. Anybody giving us, if I get one, we can move on. If statement, great. Okay, right. Okay. Right. So there's a sample of an if statement. Okay, so I think that's all for us to be able to keep our mind up this evening. So yesterday, I think Jed gave you a sample of the things that we've got is done up to now. Today, we're going to do the other two parts. We're going to do how to read and write files to your Python, in Python, and then how to do exception handling. So we will do a quick one, and then we will come back to OOP, explain how the concept of OOP is, and then that's object-oriented programming. And then we will, if we have more time after it, it's either we continue to look at the ChatGPT, how we're going to use it to assist us in programming. And then tomorrow and then the day after, we will look at Django itself, and then we can conclude that part of the training, and then we can continue the geo aspects coming next week. So today's focus, but I just want to find out, is there anybody still having issues on anything? Okay, so now let me go on. So here we are looking at reading and writing files in Python. So if you have a file, there are various ways that you'll be able to deal with a file, or you need a file in it to work with. Maybe you are developing a software, you want to put your database configuration somewhere so that when somebody pick your source code, you will not be able to get it. You should be able to get the file somewhere and then read the information from it. So you store your database connection in there, or you have a place that you store your files. You put it in the parts in the file that you read, and then be able to get those values. And there are very important things that maybe you want to put in a file and read, and then use it to do other things. So reading of files is part of development that you need to know, because almost every serious work that you do, you may want to read files or write to files. So basically, this is what we are looking at this evening. We're looking at this, and where you have more time, you look at OOP, and then how to use or leverage ChatGPT for your programming life. So those of you have, for the time being, have not been able to grasp the concept very well, or been able to know the syntax and how to do it. ChatGPT is one of the things that have come to help us, especially the beginners, to be able to know how to get a lot of softwares or codes that has been pre-written, and then use it and modify it for ourselves. So if you have more time, we'll look at that today. So we'll move straight from here, and then we'll go to the next slide. Okay. So what we can do is that we're going to possibly today, those of you are using VS Code will have an upper hand. And then, because I'm going to use VS Code today, what we're going to do is that we're going to create something from scratch. We're going to show you how, let's say if you are using Sublime or VS Code, how you're going to open your projects. So what you do is that you going to create a file. So we'll do that when we go there. So what do that? Just create a file. We're going to create, I'll show you how to do that. We create a .txt file. We are going to read and add information to it, and then read that information out of it. And then you see how you're going to add and take out, or add and then read information from a file. Okay, so the basic syntax for reading a file is, so we give it a file, the file name that you are dealing with, and then whether you want to read or you write or whatever, You do it here. So what it means that this is a sample of how you are going to use the open file. So what it means that when you open the file, if the file is there, the moment you open it, it becomes available for you to read or write to it. Okay. So most of the time, it's very important. This part is very important. Moment you read a file and you are done reading it, it is better to close it, because anytime you read a file, it's moved into memory. And then other people who are using it will not be able to use it because, or you want to perform another operation on it, it will not allow you because the file is still in memory and has not been closed. So what it means is that if you want to use it or free it for other people to use, you need to be able to close that particular file that, okay, I've finished writing to it, I need to close it, unless no other resources will be able to use it, unless it is freed up. So, and then we use a close to do that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this is an example of how, let's say, you want to, we'll go through this. So let's do my, so this is a file that has information in it and it's reading the file and printing every line in it. So here, like this, in the file, we have declared a variable and we have signed the file that we have opened to it. And then you are saying that read every line in it. And then this is the output that's giving you the first line, second line. So what it means that every line will be given a new, will be printed on a new line. So the next one, we look at how to read various files and other things. So this one's, then the person is writing files and then adding more values to it and rereading them. Okay, so this is just writing to the file. When you have, if you call the file, you open the file, you can read, you can write the file. So we read from it and you write to it. So first of all, when you get the file, you open the file, you can read the file or write to the file, and then you can close the file to make it available for other people to use. So basically, these are the 4 functions that we look at now. So let's go and then do a practice and see how we're going to go about it. So I'm going to use VS Code. I think these places are all. Okay, so let's go to VS Code. Let me share my screen again. I'm going to show you the VS Code part. Okay, so sharing screen, where is it? Okay, so here we have, where is it? Here is Sublime, empty Sublime. And then we have VS Code. We also look like this. All right, so I'm going to just demonstrate it. In order for you not to be confused, what we do is that we're going to, those of you who are going on Mac or whatever, we will do this from my documents. So I'm just going to my file. I go to my file, or in Windows, you go to your folder, open any of your folder, and then go to documents. When you go to documents, just create, let's create a new folder anywhere you want it. If the document is not comfortable for you, you can create it anywhere you can find it. So what I'll do is that I'm going to create a new folder in it and call it day 3. Day 3. And then I'll put it like this. So now it depends on which of the editor that you want to use. If you are comfortable with VS Code, you can use it. If you are comfortable with Sublime, you can use it. So if I want to open this, I can say, okay, I can just drag this one to the side. And then drag this folder right onto it. And then it will open that folder for me in Sublime, all right? And then from here, I can add my files into the folder. We want it to be organized so that all the files that we are creating is going to one folder. It is the normal day-to-day. You have files that you want to put in it. You can create a folder and put it in it. So this is not anything new. So if I also want to use Sublime VS Code, what I'll do is that same concept, or either I drag it on it, or I go to File, Open, and then browse to Documents, and then I will see my day3 file, and then open it. So if I click on Open, it will open here as well for me. Any difficulty up to this point? Any difficulty up to this point? Okay, those who wants to know whether some files has been shared instead. Okay, so what we'll do is that, okay, after today's meeting, those who are, some materials has been shared on the Ghana Geospatial WhatsApp platform. So I think James will do that again. He will reshare all the files that we have sent on the platform, including the links that we have sent earlier for the downloading of Python and then other information that you need. So it will be available. And then other documents that we gave them as to the IDs and tools that is being used in this course are also part of the document that has been shared. So you can link up with either of your colleagues that are here, or you can link up to on Ghana Geospatial platform, and then you get all of those. Okay, so we'll continue from here. I think there's, okay, right. So now what we do is that we've been able to create a folder. Now what you're going to do is that in VS Code, I think Jed showed you how to create a file in Python in Sublime already. So in VS Code, what you do is that when you open your VS Code like this and you want to create a file, you just go to here. Here you can create a file, you can create a folder, or whatever you want. So let's say I want a file. I just click here and say day 3T. So I'm creating, okay, let's do day3.py. We are adding the py to it because we want it to be recognized as Python code. So when you finish, you click on it, and then that should create your Python file for you. Okay, so that's fine. Next, what we do next, we're going to show you. So Sublime, those using Sublime, is there any other issue? Do you have any issues? You see the file that we created has also come here. So you can also see in Sublime. All right. So where is it? I'm going back to VS Code. Now we are going to first, we've learned about, let's say, the fact that if you want to read a file, we can read and write files. And write to files. All right. But before you read and write to files, you need to open the file. And after you have done, you need to close the file. Okay, so that's it. The next thing we look at here is how to implement this. In order for us to make it very easy, what we're going to do is that we're going to create another file in the same folder and write it and give it as test, right? So that's it. So I'm going to just click on a new file and say new file. You can create it anyhow you want it, .txt. And then hit enter. It has created a file, a blank file for us. What we're going to do is that we're going to use write and read from this file. Okay, you're going to write and read from this line, this file. So what I will do is that I've put some documents together for this. So, no, tutorials, where is it? Okay, so within a file, okay. Oh, no, right, I'm getting file, okay. So here, what we are going to do is that we're going to first write to this file. We're going to write to this file. So this is the file that we have written, it's new file. So this is open with open. So we are opening the file as file. So what it means is that we are going to read document the file. We are loading the file and then we are going to write something to it. So here, if you see with open this, we have put our new file .txt and then you put and declare it as a file. Now we are going to write something to it. So here you can write anything to it. So you can say, okay, the 3 learning is awesome. So hi there. So this is how I'm going to do it. And then I'll save it. So now I can run. In VS Code, as we shown the other time, you can run it severally, but what make me like to use VS Code is that here you don't have to worry about it. If you know shortcuts, very fine. We have a lot of shortcuts that make it your life very easy. But here you comfortably just can click on this play button and then it will execute your code for you. So we will click it. So you see now the file is empty. There is nothing in there. We are going to write to that file with the test that we have here. So the test, this code, this Python code is opening the file and writing to it. So here we do like this, we go to the file and then we execute it. So it has written to day 3. So now when we click on this file, you will see that what we wrote there has come here. So if you also go and see the file that we have also opened in Sublime, you will see that the Sublime will also have the same thing there. So the code is there, the test that we put it also there, and then the file has been written to it. Any question to this point? Okay, so I think there are no questions in the queue. We move on. Okay, there's nothing in here as well. So the next thing is that now that we've saved this file, most of the times, if you're, okay, let's do it. If you have some configurations and other things, you can just put it in a file. That one you will not need. Okay, I've got a signal that I'm moving faster. Let's start, or let me go over all what I've done again once more. So first of all, we created a folder. Okay. I'm going to go over again. all this that we have done, I'm going to go over again. I'll just minimize this and then go over the other one again. So first of all, what we did was that you go to my documents, and then, or any part of the folder or where you want to put it. If you're on Windows, you can put that drive C, you can put it in my desktop or whatever, but I prefer to put it in my documents here. So what I do is that I just go new folder, that's on Mac, but on Windows, when you write, you can create a new folder for me. And I say, okay, the 3 1. So I just want to differentiate it from the other day 3 so that the file can save. Or I can do day 3 underscore day underscore 3. And then when I finish, I will just go minimize the file, the folder, or the where I've created a file, and then I will go and open a new VS Code. This is blank, so we are just going over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the folder I created on the desktop up to this point. The desktop is there. Yeah, I'll click on it, and then go to Documents, and I'll go to day 3. Day underscore 3. That's what we just created now. And I will go open. Are you okay with this? Please, the one that is asking whether we are using Sublime or VS Code, we are using only one. I'm just trying to show the difference, how you're going to get it in the other one as well. So you can choose to use one. Any of them that is comfortable for you, you can use it. Okay. Mary and then Stephen, you get it up to this point now. Okay, so I think that's fine. Okay, so now what the next thing that we go to from here is to create a Python file of where we are going to write our code. So that one, I will just go here where I have the Explorer, and then where we have the folder that we have opened day 3, you have some icons next to it. For now, let's focus on the first 2, which is adding a file and adding a folder. It depends on how your structure is. You can create a main folder and create a subfolder, but this is a simple thing that we are doing. So we don't want to create plenty folder to confuse you. All we're going to do is that I'm going to create only one file here, and then I will name it the underscore 3.py. We have added it to, we have added the py to it because this is Python file that they want to recognize, because here you can create different files. You can create PHP files and all other file formats. So here we want to tell the IDE that this one is Python, and then it will recognize it and execute it accordingly. Right. So now I've done that. I will just press enter or return if you are using Mac. So this is it. Okay. So this is your Python file. I'm going to drop the code into it for you, the code for reading the file. So I'll just pick it from here. Where is it? Is it? Okay, Michael, I'm posting something. I don't know whether you can just get it to them, or let me drop it on the WhatsApp page so they can pick it up. Let me put it here. If you can get it to them, that's fine. Okay, all right. I think it has come in. So this is it. We are coming to write our Python code here to read a file. Okay, so first of all, we want to open, okay, we want to first read and write to the file that we are going to work with. So here we have to read, first to write to file. And then read from file. But before you can do this, you need to first open the file and close file after reading. Okay, so I hope all of you have got it now up to this point. So the next thing that we will look at is we are going to write a specific file. Here is a code that you can use to write to a file. So with open into brackets, new file, comma, these options can change. You can get R, and that is, for now we're using an A, right? So the next thing we look at is this is the file that we have read. So we have actually opened this file into this variable, and then we are saying that we want to write lines to that file. We are writing lines to that file. We are writing lines to that file. So what it means that if supposing we go and then run this and come and change and run it again, this file, this words will still be added to the file moving on. Okay, so now what you do is that this file that we are referring to it's not exist in our project. You can create this file anywhere and then make sure you get a file. You can copy it and put it here. All right. So let's say if you have another file in your downloads that you want to use, what you can do is, let's say I have a file in my download I want to use instead of this one. What I can do is that here I can just check on this. Where is it? Any test file here. Okay, there's no test file here. But if I have any test file here, I can, let's see, assuming we are using this get info, I can just go and pick my file path and then bring it here. And bring it here, and then specify the path of the file. Here we are saying, some of you may get error because we are saying it like this because the Python file and the file that we are creating is in the same folder. That's why we didn't specify the path, right? So in case we need to specify a specific file, we can indicate the location of the file. I can say, okay, this download this like this should lead you to the file. So if you have any other path, you can just put it there and then it will read to that file. The next one is that. So basically that's it. We have put this one here because the file that we are creating it on the same folder, in the same folder as the Python file that is writing this, is executing into that file. Are you okay? So I'm going to create it and say new file dot txt. And then I'll press enter. Please, any question up to this point? If you don't understand or you've mixed anything, let me know right now in the chat before I continue. If you're okay to just signal me, let me move on right now. Mary, are you okay? Okay, all right. Okay, say they are okay. Right. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to execute our code to ensure that, okay, Mary says okay, to ensure that this file or these lines are written to the data. So let's say we can add it. And then we will save our code. When you finish, you need to save it. So you can save from here, or you can press Control S in Windows, in Mac Command D to save it. So now we're going to execute it. In if you are using Sublime, you can use the same shortcut we used yesterday to do it, or the format that was given by Jet to be able to run it. If you're in VS Code, comfortably just go here and then press on run, and it will execute it for you. See, now our file is empty. We are not going to execute this code. We will run it. And then now the thing has executed successfully. No error here. So it means that our line is supposed to be written in the file as of now. So when you click on it, you'll see that it has written it there. Hooray. The 3 Python learning is awesome. Are you okay? You will get it. So everybody run your own. Let's see. Let me see if you are getting it. Just signal me if you are getting it. Okay, great. Yes, I'm waiting for Mary. When he executes it, then you go. Okay, so got 2 guys signal us. Yeah, Baba got it. This one got it. So this is how you're going to write information to file. Mary, let me get a signal from you if you have been able to get it. Okay, so Sublime. So if you are using Sublime and you want to run, this is how you're going to go about it. Where is it? Mary, did you get it to work, or? So what Jed told us yesterday was that, oh, where is it? So whenever you write anything and you want to run with this, you say you should go to you go to tools, you go to build systems, and you're going to indicate Python. Okay. So now when you finish, you run your code with Control Is it okay? Let me get the Mac one for you. Are you using Windows or using Mac? Okay, somebody has given you Control B, but are you using Windows or Mac? Okay, Mr. Boafo is also here. My senior man is here. So, you're using Windows. Okay, so have you tried the Control B to see after saving your file? Yes, okay. Then now I think we are going. All right, so that's fine. Now you have been able to write to the file, and it's there. You can write anything else that you want to the file. Now, what you do is that we've done that with it. So now we want to write the same file. What you want to do is that we want to be able to read that information. And most of the times that is very important because there are instances you may not even want to write. I have some configuration that I want to put. I want to put my database information in a file and read it at runtime to be able to access my database. For sometimes for hacking sake and other things, you may not want to keep all your files at one place. So say that if somebody just break your code, he has every access to your database and everything. So what you do is that you put the files that is executing this one somewhere. You put the other configuration file somewhere. Sometimes you split them. Say that nobody, when it comes and you want to pick up all those things and put it together to be able to run your system, it becomes very difficult for the person. So what you do is that your application has to be able to access those files and use it in your program. So what you need to do is that you need to have a file that will be able to tell you that, okay, this file A is here, this file B is here, this file C is here. So it reads it and then it will be able to use it to access those files for you. Sometimes you may, if the application that you are doing is so sensitive, what you can encrypt those files, say that even if the person gets it, it has to one more layer to go and decrypt it before you can use your files. So that's fine. So we're going to look at how to read the file. I'll pick the code from here, put something together. I will pick the code from here, and then all of us will have a look at it, and then we will do that. Okay, so now let me take this one off, and then let's put this one in. So this one has to be a comment. Okay, so this is it. You can type it whilst you're doing it. I'm not going to write it into the chat for you guys if you get it. So this is it. So what we are saying is that we are pointing to the same file as a file, which is the same as what we did previously, except that now we are turning it to an R because we're going to read something from the file. So here we say that print whatever you are getting from the file for us. So it's printing it. So here, the print command is not new to us because you have been printing some words. But here, what we are saying is that he should print the file by reading that content of that particular file for us. Okay, so that's it. And then we're going to read it. So you see, this is because it's console app, it will show the results here. If you are in Sublime, you saw that your console file will be there for you to look at, and then be able to use it from there. So are we all on the same page now? Okay, so I think now you can pick it from here and just run it in your code. So what I will just do here is to run this code, and then the results will show. You see in our file, it is here. Mine may be different from yours, depending on what you wrote in there. So mine is, hey there, Day 3 Python learning is awesome. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to execute this one by just going here and clicking on it. So now you see that this line has been read from our file. This line has been read from the file. And now if there are multiple lines which you can write to it, you'll be able to read all of them from the file and use it for whatever you want to use it for. Any questions up to this point? Are you able to do it? It's very important. You may need it. So really, in the complex applications, these things are something common that you may need to use. Okay, so I think Sylvia, Red One has got it. So okay. Right. So it means that we are there. Mary, have you got it? And these two other guys too, where are they? Okay, I think Mary has got it. Then the other guy to Babatu, and then Nanenchi too. I think give yours guys. Okay. Yes, Mary has got it. So now you have been able to write a code to read and write files. And that has moved you from the level of your knowledge in Python from one level into another. So that's what you need to know about reading and writing of files. The next thing we're going to do is that we're going to look at how to handle error. So yesterday we were doing typecasting and other things, and it was generating error. One thing you don't want your users to see is error. When people start seeing errors, direct errors in the application, it means a lot. First, you can expose one where the location of the files that is running the system is, and if somebody wants to hack you, it's very easy, because sometimes the error that comes show you all the location of the files and all of that, and it will be very difficult for you to prevent it. If somebody gets to know, oh, this file is stored in this server, then you are doomed. They will hack you, and then they will make sure they spoil your system for you. Sometimes if you don't know, they can even steal information without even spoiling your system, but your system has been compromised. Two, clients may not have a lot of confidence in what you are doing. So what you do is that you should, as much as possible, unless maybe you did not foresee it, but if you foresee it, make sure you close that error by showing the person an error that is friendly. Okay, so an error is supposed to come. Okay, we'll try someone else and see. An error is supposed to come, but you handle the error, and then the error gives out, oh, the input is not correct. The user understands the input is not correct than to show me some Python code that is very difficult to understand. And the person say, hey, what is this? And especially those who are programming phobia, they will just start saying, hey, this thing is, they will give you a whole lot of comment. So as much as possible, you may not want your errors to go out. So you are, as much as you have to handle the errors and say that you'll be able to know, okay, if this error happens, give the person this message. If this error happened, give this person the message. So it means that the user is going to get errors that they understand. In actual sense, let's say if I take two inputs from a user, A plus B, and apparently the person entered, so most people do that. Let's say I need an input from you, and I want 1 plus, let's say 1 plus 2. 1, okay, shift. 1 plus 2. You will get somebody who will test them, or maybe an ethical hacker, or sometimes we have in-house testers that will test your software. They will actually intentionally, because here you are expecting numbers, but they will put in something like this. Let's say 1, and then they do plus A there. This definitely is going to cause your application to break because you are expecting numbers. How do you ensure that this does not break your whole software, but it's be able to handle it and tell the user that this value that you have done is incorrect? So that's what we're going to do now. I will just first put a code in there, which is going to show you how errors may happen and then how we're going to handle it. Any question to this point? If you want any question, any clarification before we move on from here? Okay, right. I think there's in the Q&A, I think there are some questions in Q&A. Okay. Okay. Okay, Bright, you say you are not seeing it run. So in VS Code, what you do is that after you have saved your file, what you do is that you go this place. You see there's a run button over here. All right. There's a run button over here. You can click on it, it will run for you. Or you can just select the arrow down here, either you run as Python file, or you can debug the Python file. Other option that you can also do, you can go to run from here and you can start running the application from here. Are you okay? Okay, I think this should be okay for you. So you are not seeing it. Okay. Okay, so you are not seeing it, then use the other option. Go to the run and then go and pick it from there. Run should be there. Do you see it? You see run. And then start the this thing. Do you see them? Okay, Bright, check and let's see whether you have any you get it running. Okay, so that's it. So now let's see. We're going to evaluate this code and see. Okay, so there is this code. Where is it? So here we have this. This is something to print this. So when we run this, it's giving an error. This is Python code that is saying this. So in effect, if you don't do anything about it, this is the error you're going to show to your customer or your client, that this file, this file trace back most, I think the most recent call last. Okay, the file is showing where the file is. So if you get somebody who is mischievous, he will start looking for what file is on a system or trying to hack the system. He will be looking for this file and then or looking for other files within this folder. He says line 8. This one he has given you a clue as to where your error is. And then this one is good for you when you are debugging and you have these errors. And then the name of the variable that is causing it is X. This X is not defined. We don't want this error to come. So we need to handle this error such that the error, this error will not show to the person, but our customized error is what is going to show to the user and not this error. Do we understand up to this point? Okay, so I think no question has come means that everybody understands. So what we're going to do is that we're going to write, yes, okay. We're going to write something to catch the error. So most of the time we have try and catch method. All right, so I'll just bring the code here, then we see how to So I'll drop the code also in the chat for you. Those of you who don't have, you can pick it up and then see. So here, I'll put it in here. So now it's the same thing that we have done. I'll save my work. We are saying that try, and it give you this. We are always that this is our variable. The same test that we were printing earlier that will give us, and we are saying that exception, if there's a name error, meaning that if there's any of the variable that has an issue, then say print variable X is not found. So we are saying that you tell the user that variable X is not found. Okay, I think some of the information we'll drop it for you. So what it means is that we have this variable X is not defined. I can change it to mean anything. I can say, okay, please, I can say, please define variable X. So this ones, most of the times, are the user predefined, is done by the user. So whatever error that you think is very it will be meaningful to the client is what you put there. So here, what you do now is that if the error is not name or any other error, then something went wrong. So this is what your user will see instead of seeing this thing that will compromise your code or bring some sort of reduce the confidence they may have for you in your work that you do. So here, when you run this now, I hope Sam, you've been able to get it run. So here like this, if I do run like this, now you see, okay, let me clear the console so that you understand, you get it. Clear the console, make it simple. So now you see, instead of writing that plenty code for you, it just came and said that please define variable X. Define variable X. Define variable X. Are you okay? So this is how you handle the error. So if you write anything and then that you don't know or you don't envisage or anything cool that you write, as much as possible, try and write an error handling function for it so that if there's an error, it will not break the code first and it will not expose information that are not to be exposed. Any question to this point? Okay, so that's fine. So now we continue from here. So that's the Control S, and then run again. Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah, I think there's a question here. Okay. Okay, Sammy, I think maybe we'll get some time to check it and then get back to us. All right. Okay. Right. So this is for error handling now. So basically, we've looked at the we've looked at how to handle files, define the distance and all of that. So basically, this is the test that we just looked at. Somebody's asking, the second exception is underlined by the IDE. Please, why? So most of the times, if you see any of these things, you can just go there and see. You see here, he is saying that no exception type specified. So this is a warning. So if it is red, it means that's an error. You can't run your code. Sometimes they are warning, they want you to specify. So here, he wants you to specify a specific error, but we are saying that we don't know other errors that may come within the code. So what we are saying is that any other error, apart from the one that we have handled, you should show the user this one. In your case, the first exception is underlined, but did your code run? Then check, there might be an error there, okay? Good. You are getting invalid syntax because there's something wrong with the code that you've written. Check and see whether there's some quotations or something else is missing. You check your indentation and all of that. Okay, you move on. So if you have any specific issue, post it, then we look at it. If you still have any issue, you can post your code here. I'll take it here and run it, and let's see whether where the issue is coming from, or compare it here for you. So basically, this is file handling, read and write to the file. So the next thing that we do is so we say OOP, object-oriented programming. When we say OOP, what do you mean by OOP? I think so. Now, initially, I think we were doing this procedural programming, and then we came to object-oriented programming, where we were looking in the real world what an object is and the attributes thereon. So making it very easy for us to be able to write. So let's say if we look at an object, what's an object that you want to work with? So you are working with an object and you say you are dealing with people. What is when we take people as an object, how do we deal with it in programming? So in that case, we're not going to do the flat way of doing things and then a procedural way of doing things. We are doing it in an object form. And an object, let's say you take a human being or a person as an object, what you do is that a person has an age, a person has name, a person has, let's say, date of birth. So when you do that, we take that object, you can define that as a class, and an object is an instance of that particular class. So let's look at this and see. So we'll look at that class and objects briefly before we close. And then we'll look at encapsulation, we'll look at inheritance and polymorphism briefly in the lighter sense so that we don't confuse you much. So now what you do is that, okay, I did not get the explanation to the A file creation code. Okay. Please, I'm coming. I'll get back to you on that. Okay. Okay, so here we are defining a class as, so here you have a class, and then the class we've defined a class here. So the class is what we define here. So the class is defined, we do self, name, and age. So self, age, and name, what it means is that the self, we're making reference to the instance, like within the same class, an instance of the class itself, where we assign the name and the variable that is coming to it. And then here, the method is declared in it. A method is, let's say, other functions or attributes to that particular, or anything you can do on it to that particular function. So what we are saying is that if you call the define.back and then we say self, what it means that we're saying that print the name. So what it means that you instantiate this class, pass the name and age of it to say and call the define back method. What you're going to get is that you're going to get define self name says wolf. So what it means is that you're going to print the name of the name that you supply to that particular object. So let's have a look at a sample of how that thing can be run. So here you say you are creating an object, which is an instance of the dog class. So we are saying dog1 equals body and 3, and then dog2 equals this. So what we are doing is that in actual sense, we are adding objects to that particular class. And then now we are going to print. So we say print dog1.name. What is assessing that class that we have before. I'll move this one here, you understand it properly. So assessing the attributes of the thing that you have defined, and then calling the back file, it will do this. So let's take all this code and then run it for us to see. So we have defined a class, we have create an instance of the class, and we have assigned attributes to the class, and we are assessing the methods in that class. So let's see how the full code will be run for us to understand it. Okay, so here I have my okay, so this is it. Here we are creating the dog file. So this is actually a class that has been created. In the class, we have defined a class here, and you have attributes on the class, the name and age, and then we have defined a method, which is the back. So what we do is that if we define this, and we define and we create an instance of that objects of that class here, it becomes an object. So we are creating an object which is an instance of that class by saying that dog1 equals this. You put it in there, dogs2 equals this. So the file has been put in there. Now I'm going to print this to indicate if we say dog1, what is the name that has been put in there? If we say dog2, what is the name? So what means that we're going to print this. Let me add this one to it so that we can also do dog2, and let's see. So now let's run this thing. So this is our function that we run. So this is it. The code dog has it. So this is we're going to do much of this doing real world programming, and then in going to the Django aspect, some of these things principle will be used. You create a class, and then you create an instance of the class. In actual real world situation, this class may be in a different file, and then you have it being called in another class or in another program with this, and then get these values in that program instead of writing all of them here. We are just learning, that's why we are putting everything in one file. So here, what you do is that we come here, we have done, we have defined it. You see the result that we are getting here. The result is saying, I'll put it back into the test so that those who can't see the black screen can see it from here. This is the results we are getting from it. What we are saying is that this one is referring to the file name, so we can clear that one. What we are saying is that when we define the class, that didn't happen. So what we do here we have added these two variables to that class. And then we are saying that please print the name of the first dog, which we have added here as body, and then it's here. We are saying that print the second name of the dog that we have also added here, and it says Milo. So the next one, we are saying that, can you print the name of the second dog back? So he says here, Milo says hoof. So the dog is barking. So it is calling the method that we have here. So in case, let's say you are working in a project and we are saying that, okay, take customer information and store the customer into the system. So what here can be is that you can create a function, which a class, which says, okay, let's say you can say this one can be customer, and then you do self customer name, customer, let's say phone, customer, let's say, what else again? Account number. All right, so here we can see this equals this, and then this equals this, equals this. All right, so we have defined it. So we can say this one, we can say that create account. We can also define another function that says withdraw money. So now what you say is that, okay, you can just, okay, customer, this created account successfully. Okay. Can withdraw money, customer, this has taken 5,000 cedis. So now we have declared this class in a real world environment. You have declared this class. Now, how do we call this class? So here, that's where we are coming to create an instance of that class and say customer one. Customer one. Let me bring this to this. Now we can use it to do. No, let me do this one first. Okay, so customer one is called Ken. Customer two is called Sam. Customer three is called Good. Now here we have to add the rest of the attributes to it. We are saying that we are calling customer instead of this. So the dog, we are not calling the dog again, we are calling customer. We are saying cus1, which is customer one. Okay. Customer two customer 3. So now we are saying that we have the phone number and account number. So let's see, phone number. Zero, 2, 4, something, something, something. Okay. So lastly, the attribute is what? Account number. So this person's account number is 001, 001. This person's account number will be 002, 003. So that's it. And then what you do is that now we want to print that the person has withdrawn certain amount of money. So by calling, so let's say let's do this. I'm going to comment all these ones off. And then I'll run this code. So we are printing customer 1, customer 2, customer 3. Q&A is getting a lot of. Okay, so I think that's all right. So I'm going to save the file. Save the file. Let's run it and see. So now this is the results we are getting. Let me clear the screen and push it a little up for you to see. So here we have declared the class is successful. We have done, we have added customers to it. It has given us the name of all the customers here, Ken, this and that. So now we've been able to print their names. Now we're going to tell them that they have, that's this. So what is that? All the customers, we are going to call this function, which is the create account. So we are going to say cost, which is here, the function that has been defined. So customer 1, dots intelligence. Okay, so I think Jay did not explain this, or if he explained, I didn't get it. So what it means is that some of the IDs have how we call intelligence, where it gives you some clue as whatever you want to type based on what you have done already. See that he's giving me all the methods that is under the object that has been created. So here like this, if I say this, I see a create account is there and this one too is there. So create account is here, this one is here. So what we're going to do, create account. And then what you do is that we're going to close the brackets. So for customer 1, you're going to do this. And now you know that apart from this line, it's going to add one more line to it for us. So it says Ken created account successfully. So in actual sense, this can be saving into a database. When you call this, the name and the things that have been put can be saved into a database. We can also look at the withdrawal. The same person, Ken, withdrawing something. We call the different method under it, which is calling something under the class. So Ken has taken 5,000. And this is because we are just calling the method from the class. So we can ask the method to do several things in that class aside just printing this information. You can say, save the information to the database and bring back where and update the person account and all of that in the database and bring us information back. So this is how class and the object in there are done. Any question up to this point? I think we have 9 minutes to go. Let's do this, and then maybe you'll do an encapsulation, then we are done. Any question up to this point? Mary, do you understand? And Ken, grade one, you guys get it? Okay, all right. I think it's well understood now. So that this has been done. So now, I think my internet broke a little, but I think we are online now. So the next thing is, let me share my screen again. Okay. I think it looks like only it's about 7 minutes more left. If you can just leave it here and continue tomorrow, if that is okay. Michael, can we leave it here and continue tomorrow?
Yes, that's if they don't have any questions.
Yeah. If they have
So
any
you
questions,
can find out from them.
yeah. Okay, please, if you have any question, just throw it in there. Let's handle it. But the next thing is, let me show you this before we go to that particular distance. So tomorrow we'll be using what we call, let's say, where is this? We'll be using ChatGPT. We're going to explore how we can leverage on ChatGPT in our programming. Some of the things that what I always say is that anything that you want to do before, we want to do, somebody might have done it before. So you don't need to let the you to go and suffer and suffer and suffer and do it. Just seek for help. When you get it, you can modify it to suit whatever you want. Those of you who have not done programming before, this is a very leeway for you to be able to get your programming. ChatGPT is not going to arrange your code for you and then do a lot of things for you. What it's going to do is that you can leverage on it and then say that, okay, I'm doing this. I don't know how to do. Help us to do it. What we were doing yesterday, tomorrow is how we can leverage on this tool to be able to write certain things that we need. So please, I want all of you here to go to chat.openai.com and create accounts. That's what we're going to use tomorrow. So we're going to see how we can task ChatGPT to answer some of the questions for us and give us some clue as to how we're going to write certain things, ask it to write some information for us, and then we use in our code. When you get that information, how do you put it in there? So tomorrow we're going to do that ChatGPT. We're going to finish up with the encapsulation, the polymorphism, and then what we're going to do how to do this ChatGPT, and then the following day we will do Django, and then the rest of the days we were going to handle the geo aspect of the training.
Any questions, please?
Okay, that's it. So the link that you are supposed to go to is this one. I'm going to drop it in the chat for you. So try go there and then create an account. They will ask for verification, you verify, and then you see how to do that. When you finish tomorrow, we will have more. I think, especially those who are students too, this is going to help you to be able to do some things in your academics. It's going to help you. And those who are also professionals will find it very useful. Those who are already there, I think it's a plus. We'll be able to move faster tomorrow. So this is where we're going to end today's section. And then we meet tomorrow at 7 to continue the other aspects of the training. Thank you. If there are no things, we meet tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Esiama.
Okay, thank you, Michael, and all the participants for participating in this training. We are grateful to have you to be part of this training.
Please remember to share the documents in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I'll do that.
The questions.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay.